Hey, so here I am at the headquarters of the Australian School of Performing Arts, and we are talking today a little bit about their program that takes you to rural Australia, where they do work with the Indigenous communities. Hi, my name is Megan Jaworski and welcome to The Change Collective, inspiring, educating and creating positive social change. And today I'm really happy to share with you that I have two incredible women, Nicole, who is the CEO of the Australian School of Performing Arts and the Director and Chair of Girls from Oz, as well as Tiana, who is a former student of the Australian Girls Choir, and she is currently studying at Melbourne University Science. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, before we get started, I would just like to pay respects to the past, present and future elders of the Wurundjeri tribe of this land that we're currently on at the moment. So let's get started. Nicole, I want to start with you first. So what made you decide to start Girls from Oz, and why did you start it?
Well, we started it 12 years ago, Megan, and we've been running the Australian Girls Choir for years. So in fact, Australian Girls Choir is currently 36 years old.
Wow.
And so along the way, we've educated, contributed to the education of thousands of girls across the country. But 12 years ago, the directors of ASPA and some of our alumni from Girls Choir were together and were saying, it's great that we're reaching all of these girls in capital cities, and it's lovely. It's largely a middle class kind of organisation because that's where we are, we're in the cities.
Yeah.
But we really wanted to reach girls in other places. And that's the beginning of Girls from Oz. We're so sure we needed to do this somewhere else.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
So can you tell us what exactly is Girls from Oz?
Sure. Well, Girls from Oz is an organisation that uses the performing arts to engage girls and young women in their education. That's the first layer. The next layer is to inspire them to imagine that they really can be anything that they want to be. We do that using the performing arts. So it's about building their confidence and their self-esteem. And then it's about opening their eyes to opportunities outside of the towns that they live in.
Yeah.
So, we do a travel program each year, and that brings the girls from very remote parts of the country to the city. And then they can start to imagine themselves doing something other than being probably unemployed in a very small town.
Yeah, so you run a program where girls from the Australian Girls Choir from the urban areas, they actually had an opportunity to go to Halls Creek, is that correct?
I did, yes.
Western Australia?
That's exactly right.
So,
Tiana was on that trip.
Yeah, so Tiana, you were. So can you first, Nicole, tell me a bit about the purpose behind why you decided to do this? Is it an exchange, or what do you call it?
Yeah, we've been calling it the reverse travel program.
Reverse travel, okay.
So for 10 years we've been bringing the mainly Aboriginal girls from the tiny towns that we work in, so Halls Creek, Carnarvon and Lockhart River.
And they're all in Western Australia?
Lockhart River is far north Queensland.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've been bringing them to capital cities for years, and we really believe in the importance of two-way learning. So it's all well and good for us to go into these towns and work with the communities and work with the families and the girls, and we believe we're making some positive differences in those towns, but without people in capital cities having access to know more about what the lives of our Aboriginal people are like, without real experience of it, then I don't know that together as a country we're going to get to where we need to be.
Yeah, exactly, because we can read about it, but then it just becomes statistics in a book, and we can lose face of who the people actually are, and that they're real people facing real challenges.
That's right.
Yeah.
And lots of people along the way have said to us, I had not met an Aboriginal person before I encountered Girls from Oz in the city. And I think that's a shame. You talk to your average Australian and they might not have even travelled outside of a capital city in terms of remote Australia.
Yeah.
So one of the things about the Kimberley region that I find interesting is that so the Kimberley's it's as far as we can go kind of across the country in Western Australia. The Kimberley is the same size as France.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's big.
It's big, and we lose sight, I think, of how big this country is.
Absolutely. What impact, because unfortunately we couldn't get any of the girls from Halls Creek to come here today for the interview. So I'd love to know, what impact has this program had on their lives, and some of the issues that they face within their communities.
Sure. Well, one of the saddest things about Halls Creek is, as part of the Kimberley, is that if the Kimberley was a country, it would have the highest suicide rate in the world.
Yeah.
And so it's a really, it's a big thing to say about part of our own country. So one of the things that that the girls that we work with face is that many of them come from families where it's multi-generational welfare dependence.
Right.
There's very little employment.
Yeah.
And so you can imagine that when you're growing up, actually, if most of your family members haven't been really engaged in their schooling and then potentially aren't working, which is for many of them it's true that they don't have relatives who have jobs, then where's your inspiration? Where's your inspiration to go to school?
So is that what Girls from Oz helps provide the girls with by bringing them out to the city areas, and they live in a home of one of the girls from the Australian Girls Choir?
They do that.
Do they?
Yes.
It's like an exchange.
Yeah, it's an exchange. So they do that for a week, but we go in and work with them for a week a term. Yeah. So 4 times a year, every year. So we're in our 11th year now of delivery in Halls Creek.
Yes.
So what I think we've offered is reliability.
Okay.
So often programs like ours, as you know from a social enterprise point of view, it's really hard to keep your funding up. And
Absolutely.
so one of the things that we've been is completely and utterly reliable. So what we've done is build these relationships with the girls so they know they can rely on us, and that gives them the opportunity to try things they haven't tried before.
Yes, because it's providing them with the stability, because if you just go in there as a one-off, then eventually they don't end up trusting you, or it can lead to a lot of other issues as well, whereas an ongoing approach is more sustainable, it's long-term, so they can build the connection and the trust.
They absolutely do, and that then they're willing to try things.
Yes.
And you know what it's like, and we all understand education. Yeah. If you try something that you haven't tried before and you find that you like it, then you're a chance of trying something again and again, and so you're reaching, and then your confidence builds. And so we know now that what they're doing is trying things with us. That's building their confidence and their self-esteem, and then they'll go into their English lesson, or they'll go into their
and is that what these communities have noticed since running this program, that the school attendance is higher? Are they aiming higher as well with what they choose to do in life too, or supporting their communities more? Yes,
certainly in Halls Creek what we've found is that the girls are staying at school for longer, and in order for them to come on the travel program they need to have very high attendance rate.
Yes.
And so as the reputation of the travel program has built, by the time we're working with them regularly and the school is really supporting the program, then the girls are aiming to have 80% attendance where they might have had 13% attendance.
Wow, so from 13% to 80%, that's incredible.
Yes, for many of them, they're just striving, and some of them have
Yes.
even achieved 100% attendance across the years. So
that's amazing, that's incredible, because then that will open them up to so many more opportunities in life if that's what they choose to do.
Yeah, feeling successful.
Yeah, and
like
that would boost their self-esteem.
Yes.
Yes. So Tiana, I'm curious, what impact did going to Halls Creek have on you?
Yeah, so I think it's really opened my eyes to so many things, especially being grateful for everything that we have and all the opportunities that we're given here, because we live in the city and we're fortunate to be where we are. And so to be able to bring the girls that, I think it really showed me just like how important it is to not take for granted everything that we have. It also opened my eyes to a lot of the issues that they're facing over there. You know, things like you mentioned, suicide, abuse, things that happen everywhere, but they're really high over there. So I think being able to see the impact that we're giving when we donate money through Australian Girls Choir, to be able to go there and see what it was actually doing, I think was amazing. And to see the incredible staff from the School of Performing Arts that go over there and volunteer and teach, it was incredible. And from then it's just been a driving force between for everything that I do, my studies. It's become my goal to help Indigenous health, mental or physical, after my studies. So
yes, because that's really why you decided to study science in Melbourne, wasn't it? So that you could go into either psychology or like either mental health or medical area.
Yeah.
Wow. And did you make friends with any of the girls that you still stay in touch with?
So many connections. They're incredible like that. It takes a while, obviously, to build trust because they do have so many people coming and going in their lives constantly. So once you build that trust, and it really helps the Girls from Oz as an organisation that is constantly going back every term. So they're able to trust us a bit more, and then within 2 days they were jumping all over us and, you know, wanting to sit next to us all the time, and we loved being in each other's company, and I'm still in contact with a lot of them today.
Great.
And we'll be going back
this year.
Really? Yes, to see those girls.
Oh,
it's
wonderful.
new news.
Oh, that's fantastic. And what will you be doing while you're over there?
A similar thing, so I'll just be assisting in the classes and the workshops that they run there.
What kind of workshops do they run? Are they all music oriented or?
They are music oriented. There's also some acting, dancing they do, which the girls love that because it just gives them a chance to get up and have some fun. But I think the main goal between all of those, as Nicole said, is to build the confidence and the pride and to let them be themselves, and give them a place to belong and connect with the other girls and just be themselves.
That's beautiful, because we all want to feel like we belong. And I think no matter who we are or where we're from, I think every human has this need to be seen, to be heard, and to be loved, you know, and that's what we're wanting. And so when we break down the barriers that I guess divide us, and obviously acknowledge our differences, because that's really important, but to realise that we all just have those same needs at the end of the day. So to be able to give that to people, I think is a beautiful gift. So I look forward to hearing about how it goes when you get back. And what advice would you give to young people who are wanting to volunteer, whether that's in Australia or overseas, with cultures different to that of their own? Because I know when I went to volunteer in Zimbabwe, I had a very profound impact where one particular boy, he said to me, "I won't let you take a photo of me because I'm not a monkey in a cage for you to go back and show to tell people how great you are because you just spent this time with me." And he said, "I won't let you take a photo until I know you're genuine and you actually really care." And that was like a slap in the face for me. And I said to him, "Thank you, I really respect you for that." And this was 10 years ago, and we've been going back to the same community. You know, as you know, it's important. So obviously he realised I didn't see him that way. But I'm curious though, because a lot of young people, for them it is an opportunity of adventure, but they can forget that they're humans that they're also dealing with.
And it's not just a selfie opportunity.
It's not just a selfie opportunity, and it's not just a case of showing how great we are either, because they're real people with real lives. And so I'm curious, what advice would you give to young people who are wanting to volunteer with people from different backgrounds to that of their own?
I would say just go in with an open mind and an open heart, and be prepared to see things that you're not used to seeing. And I think the most important thing is go in with respect, that you know that you're going into a culture that you might not know much about, or you don't know how it works, or that you know you're not going to be considered this big special person that's coming to change their lives, that you're there to give them support for something that they may have lost, or you know, you're there as a support. You're not there to...
You're not their hero.
Exactly, because a lot of those communities, particularly in Halls Creek, I know in the past, they've been quite closed off from other organisations because they don't want to feel like they're just some project for people to change, you know. We have to go in. So that's a real testament
then to Girls from Oz, if they've actually closed off to other programs, then that goes to show how effective this program is in mutual respect and love.
You need to, I mean, one of the really important parts, of course, is building the relationships. And it just takes time. Somebody asked me recently, what advice would I give myself 10 years ago? And I said, be patient.
Yes.
Because patience is not a virtue I possess, really. So it's like, okay, yes, patience is such an important thing. And the documentary that we were talking about that we made, the little mini doco,
I'll put a link to that in the show notes so that you can actually have access and watch it. I was watching it again this morning. It actually made me cry. It's a really beautiful documentary that highlights what we're talking about.
There's a woman who we interviewed as part of that, Robin, and when I met her 11 years ago, she said, "Yeah, we'll believe you're coming back when you come back." And because I understand how committed we are, and I understood that we weren't going to just go in and go away again, it wasn't quite offended, but I was certainly surprised.
Yes.
She was very fierce
It
about
does make you take a step back and really think about your intentions, and we might know it, but you get to realise what they must be experiencing.
Yes, and so many organisations get a little bit of funding and they've got a really good idea, and we were just another one. 10 years ago, 11 years ago. We were just another organisation bowling into town, talking to people, telling them what we could imagine. And so then we did an interview with her about 3 years ago, and I said to her, do you remember how mean you were to me? And she just laughed. And then this last one, when she said, because I didn't know she was going to say what she said, but when she said, I consider you to be family of Horse Creek now, I welled up. It was just so moving to feel that. But that's the be patient.
Yes, because it takes time.
It takes time to build relationships.
Rapport and trust. Yeah, I think you mentioned trust, and I think we can go in there just expecting overnight results, but it doesn't happen that way, and we have to treat people with kindness and respect, and as you said, with patience and trust, and getting to know a different culture to that of our own also takes time, and being open, as you also said, and so I think that's really important. Okay, so Nicole, you have been running this program for 11 years now, and I know that running a business or running a not-for-profit that serves people in a real, meaningful, long-term way can take its toll. We can go through the highs and lows of it. And so I'm wondering if you could share with people how you manage through the highs and lows, emotionally, mentally, how do you stay on top of things to not just want to give up?
I think it's about team. I believe that if you haven't got somebody to turn to and say, we didn't get that grant that we spent hours and hours and hours and days writing, if you don't have people who really understand what you're trying to do and how much effort you're putting into it, when you hit those lows, I could imagine I know why people give up, because it does get hard.
Yes.
It gets hard to kind of pick yourself up and dust yourself off and go again, and no two grant applications are the same, so you feel like you're starting another university assignment every time you do one. And you can get quite a long way down a path and then still not get... for me, it's the lows are much more about trying to make the program sustainable than the program itself. Yeah. So then the highs are very much about being with the people. It's just so much about being in Horse Creek. I love it. I love it when the girls come to the city, the connections. But along the way, it's the Girls from Oz team, it's our board.
Yeah.
Because you need each other.
Yeah.
You need each other. There's no doubt about it.
I think that's what's so important, is that I know a lot of people watching, they're solopreneurs, and it can feel really lonely and get really hard. And when the going gets tough, that's when we really do need a team. And if you do work on your own, or you're starting up something and you're on your own, get a supportive network behind you, because the highs are usually, I would say, about the people that we serve, as you said, because that's why we do it. But the lows are often because we feel so isolated and lonely in our struggle. And so I really believe that it's so important that we do reach out and connect with people through that time. And it will just help us get through, because if our mission and our purpose is so much greater than ourselves, then we've just got to keep taking one step forward. Yeah.
It takes time.
It takes energy, which is why self-care is probably really important too.
Very important.
Yeah, definitely.
All of the pain of those moments goes away completely when you're sitting on the ground with those kids, I have to say.
In Horse Creek.
Anywhere we are with them.
Yeah. Okay, so what advice would you give to somebody who is wanting to start up a not-for-profit or an organisation, or they're currently running one, but they're just a bit uncertain or something like that? What advice would you give to somebody?
I think it's not dissimilar to what you just said before. Reach out.
Yeah.
Talk to other people.
Mm-hmm.
I think before starting your own social enterprise, I would actually really recommend that you go and talk to people who are doing something similar, because there's lots of people doing lots of really great stuff, and you and I actually talked about this recently.
Yeah.
It's enormous. The administration involved in running a not-for-profit is huge, and that's not a reason not to do it, but it's just something to be really alert to, I think, and that there's so many wonderful organisations.
Yeah.
We don't all have to strike out on our own and create our own foundation or our own idea.
Yeah.
There's so many people who would benefit enormously from you sitting on a board with them, you volunteering with them, you actually really contributing to something that exists.
Yes.
So that's not to say don't do it, it's just to say have a look around.
I love that, and it's funny because it's exactly a similar message to what the founder of St Kilda Moms told me as well, is to have a look around before you do something on your own.
Because otherwise I figure if we're all in this together, let's say the three of us are all running our own social enterprises, a third of our time is spent in administration and management.
Yeah.
Well, what if only that same amount was being spent, but the rest of our time was working together?
Absolutely.
That's how I think about it.
You could be so much more effective. And I think that that's some of the issues that we have with aid and development, is that there are too many people perhaps doing things when collectively we can have a greater impact. Yeah. Okay, that's great. So if people want to support Girls from Oz, because I know they're probably there going, wow, I'd love to get involved, or how can I make sure that this program continues, or how can I find out more about this? Where can they go? What can they do? Well, we've got the website, of course, so girlsfromoz.org.au, and Instagram and Facebook. We're nice and active there, and also LinkedIn. Clearly, funding is always one of the main things that we're looking for. We do a Giving Circles campaign in April to June. So if you're the kind of person who thinks that you've got a personal network and together you might be able to put together $1,000 or something like that, we use the Giving Circles for collective giving. And that then engages people in a year-on-year way. So we've been building the Giving Circles program over the last 6 years, and it's that consistent and reliable relationship that people enjoy having. And I think one of the things with this organisation is we run on the smell of an oily rag. Like we really don't spend a lot of money. And I often joke about the fact that Girls from Oz has a very good big sister in the Australian Girls Choir and the Australian School of Performing Arts. So the big sister pays for quite a lot of the boring things. The office space, the technology, all of those things. So when people do donate to Girls from Oz, it's going straight to the program. So when these girls travelled with us last year, these young women travelled with us last year, they were self-funded. So that's not about Girls from Oz funding that. That's about the families deciding this was a good thing to do.
So the funding goes towards helping the Indigenous girls?
Absolutely, straight into the program delivery and also into their travels.
Their travels, which I think is great. I think that this is something that is different to other organisations out there, is because you also provide healing for girls, no matter who they are or where they're from, through their common love of music.
Well, you can imagine last year we had 24 girls in Sydney and they had an incredible week. So most of the girls hadn't been on a plane, therefore hadn't been in a multi-storey building. Not one of the towns that we work in has a set of traffic lights. So having them in Sydney was incredible, but at the end of the week they performed on the Opera House stage with 700 other girls to a full house in the afternoon and the evening. So 2,500 odd people in the audience. So that feeling of singing as one of 700 to an audience that is the size of which is greater than the population of your town.
Yeah, amazing.
They'll remember that forever.
Life-changing.
Absolutely. Is there one particular story that stands out to you the most that you would like to share with us of a girl that has been through the program from one of the Indigenous communities that has impacted her in a really positive way?
I'm thinking of Shantae from Warrawa last year. So Shantae is now going into year 11 and she's a Halls Creek girl, and so she was, from the moment we encountered her, she just loved it. She's actually got a really lovely voice. That's not the point of the program in many ways, but she happens to have a lovely voice. And she just really engaged with us, as did her sister. So they came to Perth with us on a travel program. And then about 5 months later, we heard that her sister had committed suicide. She's 15, just turned 15. And that's so unimaginable in all of the ways. We connected with Shantae again when we were back in Halls Creek, and then she got a scholarship to Warrawa Aboriginal Girls College in Healesville, so just near Melbourne.
Oh.
So she is such a success story in so many ways. How her community has supported the family, then how she has had the bravery to come across. I mean, you almost can't get further away.
It's nearly a different world, even though it's the same country.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so then she's been at Warrawa for 2 years, and we were there last year for the presentation day, and she won the Performing Arts Award for the school, even though she's only in year 10.
That's incredible. So you're really providing opportunities for girls that they might not have otherwise had to break the cycle of poverty, to break the cycle of abuse and mental health.
That's what we're aiming for.
Honestly, I'm getting a bit emotional because it's so important, mental health in this country, particularly amongst the Indigenous community, as you said. If Halls Creek, that area, was France, that have the highest suicide rate in the world. And I think these are issues that we need to be aware of. I don't know what the solution is exactly, but I know that one solution is supporting Girls from Oz so that you can continue doing this life-changing work for these girls. Because as I think your slogan is, that something about their leaders, their mothers.
Future
Can
mothers.
you share that with us?
So we talk about it with, think about it in terms of these are our daughters. And when I say that, I mean all of the girls. These are our daughters, they're future mothers and they're future leaders. And Quentin Bryce is former Governor General, is our patron. And
is she?
Yes, she's wonderful.
I love her.
Yes, me too. I have a bit of a girl crush, I have to
Yeah.
we've had a lovely relationship for about 15 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, one of her things is if the mothers of the world are okay, then the children will be okay.
Absolutely. I love that. Thank you so much. Now, last question. Pretend that we had a magical microphone and over 7.2 billion people around this world could hear your message, but you only had 30 seconds to use it. I'm going to start with, I'll start with you, Tiana. So what message would you want to share to people in 30 seconds?
I would say listen and be open to new experiences, have a big heart and share all the experiences you've had with other people, and share your love and your care, and just be there to listen and respect other people and support other people in our own country and in other countries that need your help and need, particularly Indigenous people who need help to gain everything that they've lost. Just be there to listen and respect and support.
Thank you. That was beautiful. And what would you say, Nicole?
I would say that we need to work together to grow girls into strong women. I think it's important for all of us to work together to make that happen. On the basis of being future mothers and future leaders. We need everyone to be strong. And I think the other thing is that, and this is one of Quentin's views that I share, that if you have the capacity, then you have the responsibility.
Absolutely.
So
I love that. If you have the capacity, you have the responsibility. And I think it is so true, and something that I've always believed in is I have been given a lot being born white middle class in Australia, that I have an obligation to share that with others, because I just believe that we do. We have that responsibility. We're one people.
We are.
Thank you. This has been such an inspiring conversation. And I just really want to commend you, Tiana, for the incredible work that you're doing. I know that this world, this country, with women, future leaders, current leaders such as yourself, we're in good hands. So I truly wish you all the best with your studies at Melbourne University, and I really look forward to seeing your journey as well.
Thank you.
And Nicole, thank you so much for all that you do and for giving up your time to share this really important message, and just for the work that you do with creating equality in this country, raising awareness about really important issues, and just for your heart for people. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I trust that you have been inspired today, you've been educated, and now it's time to create positive social change. So we would love to know and love to hear from you. What is one thing that has really impacted you from this interview that you're going to walk away and actually take action on? So if you could share that in the comment section below, I'm sure all three of us would love to hear from you. Also, don't forget to check out Girls from Oz. What was the website again? I'll write it at the bottom.
Girlsfromoz.org.au.
There you go, girlsfromoz.org.au, and it'll be right here. And for more inspiring, educating,
episodes of The Change Collective, please go to meganjaworski.com/show. Also here. I look forward to seeing you again next time. Please be kind to yourself and each other and have a great day. Bye.